Live mic off.
Night shifts again. He's a nurse, I know. Glen Cove,
That's right.
And he chose Glen Cove.
Sorry?
I was just thinking in my head, four is the majority. It's not a problem.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we're going to start. Welcome to the Monday, December 8th, Village of Flower Hill Board of Trustees meeting. Let us rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by my friend David Frank.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to wait a couple of moments to go into our public hearing portion so that Mr. Lewandowski can make it here. So why don't we start off first with public comment, if anybody wants to speak on something that's not on the agenda. You wanted to speak about the local law.
Speak on Law K.
Then you can, oh, guess what? Gary's now here, so we won't have public comment, but now I will make a motion to open up the public hearing portion of the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Excellent. So we're now starting the public hearing portion of the meeting. First, I actually want to discuss local law M, which actually here says L, but I have M. Do we know if it's L or M? All right, well, then my notes are wrong. So I'll just call it the no parking Port Washington Boulevard. Because we were not able to get the proper measurements, I am going to.
M.
It is M. That was right. I'd like to make a motion to hold this public hearing at the January 12th board meeting. Heather, it's the 12th, correct? I got it right this time. Seconded, Mr. Smith. All in favor? Excellent. All right. Now I'm going to bring up proposed local law K, which is regulating plantings in the village right of way. We had this discussion last month about trying to keep our roads safer by putting restrictions on what could be planted in the right of way. We had a nice discussion about this, and then we were deciding to make some changes. And I will pass the floor to our attorney, Mr. Blinkoff.
Thank you. So, Mr. Mayor and members of the board, what had been discussed on the last date was that originally as proposed, there was consideration of two things. One, a portion of the controlled visibility, a portion of a change to the local law, which will control visibility on corner lots. And that there did not seem to be a great deal of concern about. The portion that dealt and had concern, and I do have an extra copy. Mr. Braga, do you have a copy of?
I have a copy from last month's meeting, and I was
Which is
told
exactly
no
what-
changes
that's correct.
since last month.
So the portion that the board expressed concern about was a proposal to change paragraph H and add a paragraph 1. Trustee Lewandowski, can I walk over to where the grading mark to show you what I'm looking at? And what had been proposed was a change that would say, just showing you, all areas within 4 feet from the edge of the road, gutter or curb should be clear of any plantings or obstructions. The concern was that 4 feet might impact a lot of people differently. And in reviewing it, it appears that I was respectfully suggest that the board does not need that change. The reason I suggest that is that the code already says in paragraph H, right above, right there, in the first sentence, and I think actually Trustee Lewandowski pointed this out last meeting. It already says trees, shrubs, or other vegetation are pruned, meaning they have to be pruned, such that they will not obstruct the passage of pedestrians on sidewalks. So that being the case, and the concept being that the sidewalks would be either an actual concrete walk or the area within reason next to the street, we don't need, I would suggest, to make a change. The code already covers it. The building inspector can exercise his normal work a day purposes and inspecting if there is any complaint. But the code already allows for that. So I don't believe there would need to be the additional change because there was a question about what do we do with the 4 feet. As for the corner, that remains as proposed before.
So could this idea of it being, of 4 feet being clear with no obstruction be a policy or something advisory rather than written into code, I guess?
I think this, in speaking to Mr. Obinsky, and I don't want to speak for him, but I'm going to anyway. I think that's sort of a guidepost that the building inspector would be working with. But if, for example, and Mr. Obinsky, correct me if I'm wrong, if he goes out and looks at a property and say the shrubs are, 2 feet from the ground and are not going to obstruct anything, but are closer than 4 feet to the street line, that might not create a problem. He's going to be using his discretion, but I do think sort of a sidewalk width is sort of a general guidepost. But it wouldn't be something that would be formally in the code. It would allow the discretion for the building department.
Just to maybe restate the obvious, but maybe it isn't so obvious, or maybe I've got it misconstrued, but there are 2 goals I think we're trying to achieve here. One is to open up visual access, not to be obstructed visually. And 2 is to provide a safe haven for pedestrians.
Yes.
Right. And I think, some will be judgment calls, because there might be certain borderline cases. I imagine as you just go through the village, you see people like, oh, is that going to be a problem or not? And so, but I think, like I was saying last month was, I thought like in the case of, people have stuff that go right to the curb line in terms of plantings, but it's only for a small area and adjacent to it is a driveway. So, there are, at least, relatively able people are able to dodge a car if there's a driveway. So I think, I think this is a good change. I think it's certainly clear that we want to achieve. And I don't know if we need to restate what I just said about what the 2 aims, but as long as we feel that this covers us in terms of making sure residents do keep it properly maintained, then I think I'm good with it.
The only understanding I would like to have, which I think is implied here, is that in the definition it says sidewalk. Some people would think, well, a sidewalk is a paved area, but it's an area that you walk on. So that's the interpretation I meant. I think in the last meeting I used that implication that we talked about the width of the sidewalk being what we were talking about. And I don't want somebody to say, well, it says sidewalk, and everybody knows a sidewalk is concrete, or paved. But to me, that's the implication. It's an implied sidewalk that someone can walk to the side of the road. And that's the interpretation I'm using in basically on what is the existing ordinance that we have.
Council, can we change it to sidewalk or curb line?
We could.
What if there's no
No.
curb, like,
There are no sidewalks in our community, basically.
Well, curb line is the street.
Right.
That means that they have to walk in the street. The whole
No, but-
intent of this is to walk off the street.
Prove so that they will not obstruct the passage of
I'm
pedestrians.
sorry, Mr. Smith?
The statute right now says it will not obstruct the passage of pedestrians on sidewalks. We really don't have any sidewalks.
That's what I was just discussing, that
Right,
a
so that's why I'm
sidewalk,
trying to
a
fix it.
sidewalk is a walk adjacent to a road. It's not the road, not the curb, it's adjacent to the road, so a pedestrian is off the road. So I think the intent of that ordinance is whether there's a paved sidewalk or an implied sidewalk, that a pedestrian can get off of the road, beyond the curb, beyond the edge of the roadway.
Right.
That's the intent we're looking for.
You're right.
But that's why I'm asking why we can't just specifically say that. So next to sidewalk, you add at the end of it, or adjacent roadway.
Yeah, that would help me, if it would be 4 feet off of the road. From the edge of the road, 4 feet over is the minimum.
I guess the other thing is the next line is including trees between the sidewalk and the curb are the responsibility of the adjoining property owner. I mean, again, that's kind of confusing because we don't have sidewalks. So I'm thinking, are we saying it's really the right of way rather than?
Just to clarify, that what you're reading right now, Trustee Lewandowski, is what's already in the code.
Okay.
If the board did wish to make a change, what I would propose would be tree, shrubs, or other vegetation are pruned such that they will not obstruct the passage of pedestrians. Take out the sidewalks. So then Peter Galvinsky would have the opportunity to
Well,
make a determination, but I could also say on sidewalks or near, at or near the road, walking is however Trustee Smith wanted to phrase it. And we could change the maintenance of village trees, including trees between the sidewalk and the curb, we could just change it to in the village right of way. Are the responsibility of the adjoining landowner.
Yeah, I would say sidewalk or adjacent roadway.
Okay,
That would be my suggestion.
Excuse me, I don't understand what you mean by adjacent roadway.
yeah, it's not.
Adjacent to the
I think-
roadway? Not adjacent roadway.
Well, it says,
It would be.
will not obstruct the passage of pedestrians on the adjacent roadway. So in other words, the things don't.
I don't follow that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine, I'm right there too.
There's the roadway, and then there's the area adjacent to it would be either a lawn area or a physical sidewalk.
Well, then how about the area adjacent to the roadway?
Yeah,
Isn't that called, isn't that what's that called, the right of way? What's
it's
the,
part of the
Yes.
right of way. The right of way, in
How
most
far?
cases, is more than the
It's
4
usually
feet
10
of the
feet
walkway.
or 15.
It
Oh.
could be 10 or 15 feet.
It
We're looking
varies
for-
depending on
it's
the.
getting late, I'm
Right.
sorry.
A basic area for, the minimal area, we'll call it, for a pedestrian to be off the edge of the roadway.
Right.
So, yeah, adjacent to the roadway, I think that.
adjacent to
So
the road?
we're going to say
So-
area adjacent to the roadway.
Right, so I would prefer if we added that to that definition to make it a little clearer than just say sidewalk, because the sidewalk could, again,
So
could be interpreted.
so in this case, we're going to say sidewalk or area adjacent to the roadway.
Yeah,
We're going to leave current verbiage and
What
add
do you
new
call it, an area or strip?
area.
And then while we're making that amendment,
Gesundheit.
does the board want me to then say the maintenance of village trees, including trees in the village right of way? are the
Yeah.
Responsibility, as opposed to
Yeah.
the sidewalk and curb.
That's acceptable.
so again, I'm the one who has to, so that would mean, so we have the area that's gonna be kept clear, that 4-foot area adjacent to the roadway. The right-of-way is greater than that, in most cases, 8 to 10 feet, maybe 12 feet. So if there's any other vegetation, I'll call it, in that 10, 12, whatever feet, that's also the responsibility of the owner to maintain that.
Yeah.
Keep in good order, so to speak, right? That's what we're saying?
Always has been.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
We're not
Yeah.
changing that.
So then, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I will make those changes, but that then is, those are different changes from what we had discussed before.
Correct.
So I would respect the request, and then I make those changes, recirculate it to the board. this
And
be-
we'll hold another public hearing on January 11th. All right. Does anyone from the public like to speak? Mr. Franco?
Yes. Thank you.
And for the record, can you please let the stenographer know your name and address?
David Frankel, 12 Bayberry Ridge. Awesome. I get to some degree the intent, and I think it's good what you're trying to do here. But I think it's misguided in certain respects as well. I have problems with both the visibility at intersections, and I have problems particularly with L. And I want to tell you what they might be. Let me just deal with the triangulation issue. I just did a little bit of homework besides driving around the village and noting that in Manhasset, Washington, and in Roslyn, I stopped counting in each section 10 houses that would theoretically be in violation of what you've written here. So enforceability and the rest. I'm here, as I mentioned last meeting, to write a good law. And I know your intent is good, but I will leave this with Heather. As a general rule, from what I can tell, and I think you should probably hire an engineer or traffic engineer if you really want to do this the right way. With a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, and by the way, it varies. I don't think we have any 20-mile-an-hour speed limits because New York State mandates that minimum of 25, from what I can tell. And you may have some other higher speed limits.
That is actually,
roads.
that is incorrect. 25 is the minimum for
For New York
village-wide.
State.
Wait, I
You-
cannot say two at once, please. One
Twen-
at a time.
25 is for an entire village or area. You can individually change the speed limits on specific roads.
Okay.
I do not believe we have, but you can.
25-foot visibility, I'm going to read, and I'm going to paraphrase it. A 25-foot visibility triangle at an intersection is typically for minor roads or local streets with low speeds, parentheses, around 25 miles an hour or less. You have 30 miles an hour, 30 feet in your proposal that you're putting forward. I suggest looking at 25 feet and not 30, and I'll leave this with Heather, and this comes from the state. It says low-speed, low-volume roads when both intersecting streets and local roads or alleys with posted speeds of 25 miles an hour or less. They're talking about 25 feet and maybe not 30, and you might want to consider that. I think the idea of triangulation and the look-see from a safety perspective is good, but don't overdo it. I don't know where the 30 came from. This, if you want to check also with the, well, Jeff would probably know, there's an association, the American Association of State Highways and Transportation Officials, AASHTO, the Green Book. And I'll leave this with Heather. Those were just some notes. So that's, first of all, my comment is the triangulation idea is sensible, it's a safety thing, and that will get you to some degree what you want. Also, with regard to, let me just jump here because I have an objection then to section 2 and using 34 versus 25. The other part in L gives me a bit more of an issue. One thing I don't understand.
Let me just
maybe the-
interrupt.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, 1 minute. Mr. Mayor, are we now, first of all, we don't have an L. I think it was an M in the end.
Yeah.
But that's a separate transcript. Are we jumping from,
I think he's talking.
oh, are we going back to the original local law?
No, we're still in the same
We're still on trees and planting.
That's
affirmative.
correct.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but
I thought we
I'm
were,
using the.
Section L.
He's talking about section L that's in the code, not
okay,
local
I'm
law
sorry,
L.
not local law. Thank
Law.
you, thank you. I just wanted to make sure it stayed in the transcript.
This part, I maybe just don't understand, and Jeff might want to. It says, all streets with a distance of 4 feet for giving right of way. What occurs to me first, not discussing roads like Middleneck Road, et cetera. You're trying to clear property, and the way this reads, it says, planting or other obstructions such that they will not obstruct the passage of pedestrians. What jumps at me is that if a pedestrian is walking and you want to clear 4 foot, you're advocating that they trespass. The simple trespass law in New York State, I may be
David,
wrong.
you're way over 3 minutes, so start
And
wrapping
you're
it up.
misguided
Well,
too.
go ahead, the 3 minutes, but-
And you're very misguided. It's the village right of way. It is
Well, I
not,
know it's the board's
it is
right of
not,
way,
no,
but it's
it's the village's
not
right of way.
trespass.
It is not trespass, David.
Okay,
That's why it's called the right of way.
The other thing,
you
just,
have the right of way as the board, but it's somebody's property, and if somebody is
It's the
on
village
No, it's a
property,
village property.
It's
the
for,
village
it's for,
Property.
so the village owns that right of way,
Yeah,
Yes.
not the homeowner.
10 to 12 feet off the
If
face
it's
of the
not-
road.
I'm not a lawyer, so if it's not trespass, then that's fine.
Actually, you could make the state every,
I'm sorry, you are a lawyer or are not?
I am not.
Thank you, no.
he only plays one on TV.
I do both. We're talking about not, you called it L, but it's actually H1. The conversation
Oh, I'm
started,
sorry, yeah.
it's okay.
H1.
The conversation started with us talking about not implementing H1 because H without the 1 satisfies what we're trying to accomplish. So that's what we just started with. So,
Speaking about what you talked about earlier was eliminating H1.
yes.
Oh, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, the meeting started with potentially eliminating H1, and then we just talked about then changing H to modify the sidewalk lines so that it's more specific to help our code people.
Good idea. If H1's gone, I have no problem
Oh.
at all. So the only thing I have left is just consider 25 or 30 feet vis-à-vis speed limits, because there are different roads with different visibility lines for triangulation. You've got Country Club Drive coming into Port Washington Boulevard. Speeds on Port Washington Boulevard versus the 25 mile an hour on Country Club. I don't know what the proper triangulation would be. I would think because of the speed of Port Washington Boulevard, as a layman, it would be a larger triangulation. You might need 35 feet. I don't know. But with regard, you have different roads with different characteristics. And I don't think that necessarily in 2 was necessarily taken into place. You took one approach, 30 feet, applies to everything. The mayor said 25 mile an hour in the village. That's probably true for 100% of the roads, as far as I know. But the roads have different properties. Middle Neck Road is very different. You know, if you're gonna spend time and effort, I would think sidewalks on Middle Neck Road, so I could get from Greenway to past the apartment buildings. Now, that would be a worthwhile consideration.
okay, David,
More
David,
important than this. and I'm
you're going on a tangent. You're going on a tangent.
I am.
This has nothing to do with the topic.
I appreciate.
I
the
thank
time.
you for your comments. You can give Heather your in-depth analysis.
Thank you for your time.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to change the writing of the local law K, as we discussed, with adding in the verbiage as discussed. And we will reconvene at the January 11th Board of Trustees meeting to further discuss this. 12th, sorry. Why do I keep on saying
Thank you.
11th? Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
So correct, the January 12th. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Can I just ask a question? He just provided us with information that 25 feet might make more sense than 30. I don't want us to do 2 more months with this stuff.
We're not.
Can I, we're a village, we can establish our own number. If he's using a state ordinance or a state guideline for state roads, that's one thing. 30 feet has been used in other villages in the area,
Okay.
and that's where the 30 feet came from.
think
Again, we have the same speed limit throughout the village, so there's that consistency. That idea, and again, we're taking it from the intersection, I don't know how they take it on the 25 foot with the section you're citing, but the 5 foot difference isn't that much, and I would prefer on the side of safety.
Agreed.
Concurred. I have a second from Trustee Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, no abstentions. All right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing portion of this meeting. Seconded by
I'll second.
Acting Deputy Mayor Collins. All in favor? Aye. Excellent. Thank you, Wendy. Happy holidays. We did public comment. I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the October 25th Board of Trustees meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Frankel. All in favor?
Aye.
We are not going to approve the motion to approve claims. We need to go to executive session to discuss one of the payments. Then after that debate, we will come, or discussion, we will come out and approve them then. New business. First, I would like to get a motion to go out to do an RFP. RFP? I guess RFP. For our new garbage contract.
You
Our
skip the
current,
order?
I'm just going in a little order. Our current contract expires on May 31st of 2026. And I think it behooves the village to get ahead of a new bidding contract.
How many years is the contract? Is it 2?
Currently, it's been 5.
It's been 5 years.
It's
we've
been a
had that?
5-year contract.
Oh.
I think previously it might have been a 5-year one as well. I just can't remember.
It's kind of go each year, the village having an option as to whether or not to continue.
Right.
Okay, because it seemed like we switched in the last 5
No,
years, right?
no.
We swithed 5 years ago.
No, you're thinking of the merger. You're thinking of the merger.
Oh, that's why.
Correct.
The job between that.
It does seem like we're debating
Right,
the
yeah,
contract.
right.
But we did switch 5 years ago. So I'm going to make a motion to go to RFP for the garbage contract on, I guess, a date to be determined when we're actually going to go to bid. But we need to do all of our paperwork and
Can I ask a question about the RFP? Does the RFP just a standard what you used 5 years ago? Are there, I know that the recycling thing was part of the consideration. Does it all come down to cost? Is there a committee that looks at, or is it just like, okay, this one's cheaper? It's like, how
so
does it work?
what happens in public bids like this?
I know about public bids. I'm just saying specifically in this.
So what we need to do is we need as a board to decide what parameters we want. 3 days a week, 2 days a week, rear yard pickup, not rear yard pickup, how we want to do the recycling. There are certain requirements when it comes to recycling that the town mandates that we have to follow. So we will come up with all those requirements, and then we will publish those requirements as part of the bid process. We would then receive all the bids, and they're opened up, and they are given, and the contract is then awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. Not necessarily the lowest bidder, but lowest responsible bidder. In years past, I believe we disqualified a low bidder because they were not able to meet the village's insurance requirements. So they have to meet all the requirements, and then it's awarded to the lowest bidder. Correct, Mr. Blinkoff?
That's correct, and I'll circulate the proposed set of specs, so the board can review any changes and tweak that before it would ever go out, so.
Right.
This is just so we can start the paperwork on the RFP.
Right.
I'll second the motion.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. In our packet are the proposed dates for all of our public meetings for 2026. This is for information purposes only. We do not need to vote on this. Thanks again, Wendy. That's not Wendy's jacket, right? That's sitting right there?
I think that's mine.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Bye, Wendy. Yeah, so here's the new dates for our 2026 public meetings. Now I'm going to go back. Yeah, some things happen with holidays and other things that get in the way where we have to move a couple of meetings around.
Yeah, Labor Day's the 7th.
And that's right, we have a much later Labor Day this year. It's one of the latest it's been in a while. All right, now we're going to go back to the first item because that might be the longer discussion, is our proposed logo. So based on comments from last month's meeting, we went back to the drawing board and we revised the logo. The original one was item 1. We came up with 2 with the yellow, 3 with the blue, and 4 with the green. And I think the general consensus from our informal email vote was to go with number 4 from the color perspective. Does anyone have any comments on that? No, wonderful. And then number 5 was how we were going to do the black and white treatment of the same color logo. The black and white would be used for village letterhead and other types of documentation where color would not be necessary. And that being said, if there's no comments, I would like to then take a vote on passing items 4 or number 4, the green logo, and number 5, the black and white logo, as our new official logo, which we will then use as we start replacing documents and other types of things that are aged out and need to be replaced. So the goal really isn't to go and change everything right away, but as our papers are used up and like behind us, Gary's looking, that'll be fixed eventually. We don't have to run right out now and spend the money on it. But specifically, I'd like to get some of these logos on our trucks because our trucks don't have logos because we want it updated. So I'm going to make a motion to do number 4 and 5. And do I have
What typically are the color of our trucks?
our trucks
White.
are generally white.
Okay, so the green will look good on them. Okay.
Yes. White is usually the default color for most of our vehicles. The cheapest and easiest to get. All right.
Usually the most popular these days too.
And it looks
White
good.
vehicles everywhere.
Love them. All right. So I'm making the motion to do numbers 4 and 5. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Frankel. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Wonderful. ARC report. Mr. Albinski.
ARC report, November 24th. Three applications are before us. 132 Rennie, they came back with some modifications to a previously designed, which we approved. 67 Fernwood had to do with siding and roofing. We had a number of comments. They had started some of the work already, and we asked them to come back. Subject to certain conditions. But before you for approval, but we gave them a specific list. I haven't gotten those back yet. I'm assuming I did. If we don't, then it'll be back before the board. 45 Crabapple, that's a new single-family dwelling. We've given them some direction to it, and I've since been told that they don't want to go in that direction. They want to come back again for another look, so they will come back this month.
So we're looking for a motion to approve 132 Rennie and 67 Fernwood, or?
Yes.
Okay. So I will make a motion to approve those 2 sites. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I assume Trustee Lewandowski will be recusing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next on our list is our DPW report, which you guys have received a copy of. Paving update. We successfully paved the area by Ridge Drive, and the area by Country Club Hewlett, and the paving was very successful. McGowan and Sons did an excellent job, and they came back and did all their punch work items very successfully, and I'm looking forward to hopefully working with them again in the future. Let's see, attorneys, oh, sorry.
Sorry, just to touch on, when do we think we'll finish Stony Town to Port Washington Boulevard? I mean, do we have an idea when the work is wrapping up for the Port Washington Water District?
Yes. There's still, so they're finishing, I just got this update today from the Water District. They're still working on outside finishes. So they're close to being done with that, assuming there'll hopefully be no heavy duty equipment. All the electrical equipment is installed and they're being wired with the hope to start sampling soon. The only thing they need to do, from my understanding, and I don't believe they've done it yet, is
Yeah, I'm sorry, you don't have to get in the weeds on the water district. I guess my question I should have, let me restate it, is at this stage, we're gonna wait till that project gets done. And it will probably be done before we will do our next round of repaving.
we will not be repaving that portion.
Oh,
of the
we
road.
won't?
The Water District will be paving
Oh,
that
they're
portion of the
repaving.
road.
Okay.
So they need to finish their work.
Oh,
And they will be fixing certain portions of the road that they have upset. They need to do some curb work, which I believe they're waiting till all the heavy equipment has been done, and then they will put curbs in. And
Got
after they put the curbs in that they need to access their site, then they will restore the road.
Understood.
Yes.
So that, but probably it's a springtime.
I do not believe that they would do any paving at this time of year. And my guess is they're not going to do the concrete work this time of year because of the freezing temperatures. So that'll probably be in the springtime, which is when they also stated they will restore the hill on the park side.
Okay.
And they actually resent me the drawings of that just to reconfirm. And we like what the plan was, and they're going to stick with that plan.
Hope they're tall, whatever they are.
I don't know, but I'm sure like anything, they will grow.
But not in the right of way.
And that
Luckily,
obstructing,
there's
and
no
actually,
right of way there.
and obstructing view.
Yes. Okay, so that's that. Attorney's report, Mr. Blinkoff.
Yes, very briefly, and my apologies, I have written reports to hand out. There were 3 matters that the board decided upon. 2 of them were fairly de minimis, and I'll review those quickly for you, but there was an application at 19 Country Club Drive.
Peter, you are excused if need be.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
19 Country Club Drive, which was a fairly small increase to a driveway, and the board deeming that to be in compliance with the criteria approved it. It would also be screened and would not create any detriment to the surrounding community. There was also a request really to match some pool equipment in a yard, which would be within the required setback, but would also be in line with an existing generator that's already there. The applicant agreed to screen it so it won't be visible, and the board thought that that would be in compliance with code. There was one denial, and that's the application at 9 Chestnut Lane. What was proposed was a sports court within 2 feet of the side yard setback with a 10-foot fence surrounding, and the board felt that was just too substantial to approve. It was also, from the building department's view, something that could have been placed somewhere else on the property and would not necessarily have needed, if not any variance, at least a smaller variance. So the board did deny that. These were all subject to decision, which I'll be drafting, and the board will be reviewing at the next meeting of the BZA.
Thank you very much.
What's the 19 Country Club adequate screening of, like they're increasing the size of their driveway, right?
Yes,
So how is that going to be screened? Because I have,
along the side of the driveway where it's being put in, so that it won't be visible as people are driving as much. It'll be screened from passersby.
it'll be hard to do because you're coming up, it's pretty close to the road.
I can circulate the drawings to the board.
I'm just curious how they're going to do that. It's so interesting. Okay, that's all right.
And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor's reports. All right, here's a lot of big ones. We have to beware of deer because we had a lovely buck
I saw that.
passed away on the corner right here by
Yeah,
the park.
I went by right after that.
Did you actually see it get hit?
No, I didn't see
Oh.
it. The police were already there, but it was just.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know what hit it because we didn't see any plastic or glass, so I don't know what kind of vehicle hit it. And a lot of residents have been seeing deer running around their homes, so let's all be careful of our deer. Toys for Tots, we're collecting them through the end of this week. We got quite a lot of toys, bring some more. It's daylight savings time has started, so everybody please remember to set your timers for your homes. Gary and I met with IMEG on our sewer study and the sewer feasibility study. And due to some information they need to get from the sewer districts, we won't have that report until mid-2026, I guess is a safe date, which is fine. I'd rather have them get all the right data and do this properly than to not have all the data that's needed for this. Yeah, that's my key, very big, important, exciting things. Do I have any trustees reports?
Randall, I missed the meeting, Thursday. I think you attended. Did you go to the one at the Cedarmere?
At Cedarmere. Yeah,
Anything?
it was good. That's the, hold on. Let me write down
What
this.
was the,
I gotta get the exact name of it because I tend to misname things. Of course I don't have the name.
my wife just got out of surgery, so
It's the, that was the, that was it. No. Oh, Gary, I don't have the exact name of what the,
I'll give it to
yeah. But it was a good event. I
you.
mean,
New York State Bond Act Roundtable.
thank you. The most important thing I actually learned about this is there are certain, and it was a very well attended event. The room was full at Cedarmere. There are certain availabilities of funds for equipment that I didn't think was available. One being, interestingly enough, like a vac truck. So right now we use our street sweeper to clean our catch basins. And it does a good job, but it doesn't do a great job due to the depth of many of the catch basins. If we were to own a vac truck, we can do a significantly better job of cleaning. And Rich and I went to a trade show recently, and we saw some vac trucks, and they're really nice, and they're really not inexpensive. But there are funds available through these programs to get something like that. So Marla and I had a really quick conversation, and we'll start investigating. But there's other things like that I never would have known that there are funds out there for us to do. And theoretically, yes, there are funds available to do sewer. But that's a longer process. And anything to keep the waters clean.
Right.
So these are good things. That was what that lovely event was all about. And I'll now punt back over to trustee reports if anybody has any. No, perfect. Then I am going to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss a contractual issue involving one of our payments. After we discuss that, we will come out of executive session and vote on the abstract of audited vouchers, depending on the how we decide on one of these payments. So I'll make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Let me turn off the.
We do it in here.
Yeah. There's no reason to.
Okay.
Yeah, she had shoulder surgery on rotator cuff. So totally out of commission the following